Hello and welcome back to our Retire Early lifestyle. Are you a sitting duck in a foreign country? Only you will know the answer to that after watching this video. We've got 5 reality checks for you. Let's begin. Reality check number 1, the lifestyle arbitrage reality check. Let's be real here. We call it lifestyle arbitrage, but to the locals, it looks a lot more like economic migration. They know you're moving to their country because it's cheaper than North America. They already know that. I mean, assuming that what the Rams say is true, that Americans are moving abroad in record numbers, then that would mean essentially that Americans are colonizing these smaller countries in high numbers. So then what is the consequence of that? When you move to a beautiful town in Asia or Europe because it's cheap, you have to remember that your Social Security check or earnings are often on par with and sometimes a lot more than what the local doctor or teacher is making. Even our viewers talk about this gentrification thing. Our viewers know what is going on because they watch this channel. It's called gentrification and caused by all the migration flooding into a highly desirable place by many, like California did to Arizona, for example. Rents and home prices explode with demand and seems to be happening in many places worldwide now. You got that right. When we move to another country, we aren't just finding a bargain. We are inadvertently raising the floor for everyone else. And we simply don't realize that we're doing this. You see this from expats that say things like, "I don't notice any gringo pricing," and similar language like that. If Americans are moving to a handful of countries in record numbers, then what is exactly happening here? When we brag in videos about our $600 penthouses, we're sort of showing the locals that their children will never be able to afford to live in their own hometown. The planet is just getting too expensive, and foreign nations jacking up expat income requirements is just greed. And yes, this greedy behavior will continue while disregarding and displacing their own citizens. It's not going to stop. Resentment from the locals doesn't come from nowhere. It comes from being priced out of their own lives. Why do entire cities like Barcelona or Lisbon have anti-tourist protests for? It's not to go outdoors and get sunshine. It's because they're troubled by the prices. And by the way, these protests have large turnouts. It's thousands of locals out on the streets protesting, not just a few hundred. Reality check number 2, the restaurant menu change story. Well, I've got a story for you, and maybe some of you expats living abroad can relate. Frank and I have seen this happen personally and on multiple occasions. So you find a quiet local spot where the coffee is great and the prices are fair. Within 3 months, if you make a video about this lovely restaurant, a dozen more expats show up and suddenly the local menu disappears. When we lived in Cuenca, Ecuador, we'd often walk 4, 5, or 6 blocks away from El Centro to find a nice little hideaway restaurant that only catered to the locals. And if we liked it, we would never make videos bragging about it or anything like that. And the prices just never changed, and we just kept going to our favorite restaurants off the beaten path. We told our viewers and blog readers they need to do the same thing. Otherwise, you will get priced out and the prices will double in 3 months. The locals end up being the minority in that restaurant. This is why many cities abroad have what is coined as expat restaurants and gringo hangouts, because the local folks can't even afford to walk through the door anymore. The problem is the only people making money is the business owner or the restaurant itself. The locals get nothing out of it except for they can't go there anymore and eat. It just gets too expensive. If you want to know why the welcome mat is being pulled back, look at how many gringo bubbles we've created that have pushed the locals to the outskirts. And, well, you guys are saying it too. Do not go to any Mexican place which has a large existing gringo scene with concurrent gringo prices, often already New York City prices. That leaves out Puerto Vallarta, Playa del Carmen, the whole Mayan coast from Cancun to Tulum, much of Mexico City, and much of Querétaro province. It's the same thing in Italy, Portugal, Thailand, Mexico, Greece, France. We don't care where you go, it's all the same. And that's the reality we all need to check for when we move abroad. And really, if living around the locals makes you uncomfortable, perhaps that particular country is not a good match for you. Rams or no rams? Reality check number 3, the English-only barrier. When we move to a country abroad and refuse to learn more than hello and thank you, we are sending a loud message that we don't think their culture is worth our time. But on the flip side of that, when they see you using your translation app or your cue cards with greetings and simple phrases, they're more apt to be pleasant and helpful. We don't think there are many ugly American expats, but they're out there and they can and do ruin the relationship between them and you. In many of these traditional cultures, language is respect. When we don't even try, we aren't just expats, we're permanent tourists who expect the world to cater to us. That's where the invisible wall starts, folks. Reality check number 4, the American fix-it syndrome. Some expats have this habit of wanting to improve everything to American standards. We complain about the mañana attitude in Latin America or the slow pace of life in rural Asia, forgetting that the slow pace is exactly why we moved there in the first place. Some of the expats used to complain all the time about the music playing all over in the city of Cuenca. They complained about the loud fireworks going off at midnight when it wasn't a holiday. They complained about the erratic traffic not stopping for them. And folks, it just went on and on and on. Now, not all expats did this, just a few of them. But it was enough for the Ecuadorian authorities to make noise ordinances in the city. It was enough to start fining locals for setting off fireworks when it wasn't a holiday. And it was enough for them to install 1,200 new traffic enforcement police in the city of Cuenca, and it just went on and on. It's as if we're installing little North American villages all over the globe. Except that we stand out like a sore thumb because of the disparity in opulence. Funny thing is, after prices doubled and tripled and Cuenca was one of the quietest Latin American cities in the world, Frank and I watched as these same gringos left Cuenca one by one, two by two, back to the U.S. until there were barely any gringos left in Cuenca. Now, Cuenca seems to be invaded again by foreigners, and expats have told us that prices have risen, and so has the crime. Doesn't surprise us any. So when these small places get colonized by record number of American expats, like the Rams and their cohorts like to say, there are a few ugly Americans that will actually force U.S.-style efficiency or customer service onto a local shopkeeper. And seriously, folks, all that does is make all of us Americans come off as arrogant and demanding. Do you see how that works? We don't want to be in that crowd, folks. We don't want to be disrespected by the locals, and we don't want to be in the belligerent minority. That's just not a pleasant environment to be in. Have you been to Spain lately? I'll tell you something, and this is a true story, okay? I ordered a very established dish in Georgia. It's like the famous national dish of Georgia. I gotta say the name in this video. I don't remember what it is right now. I'm gonna look it up. And so anyway, they bring this beautiful dish to the table, and the egg on it was runny. I asked them to please cook the egg so it wasn't runny, and he looked at me as if I asked him to move the Eiffel Tower. I'm not kidding, it was a glare. I'm not joking. He took my plate back to the kitchen and came back with the plate, and the egg was still runny. I ordered that dish over and over again in different restaurants, and each time I told them to please cook the egg so it wasn't runny, and they wouldn't do it. It wasn't gonna happen, folks. I was destined to have a runny egg in Georgia, in Tbilisi. I was just too demanding, and it seemed to them that I wanted to change their national dish. Of course I didn't want to change it. I just don't like running eggs. This is a Georgian dish after all, and if you want it, you eat it like the Georgians. Okay? And this is just one country. They're all like this. The locals don't want us to fix their country, and they're not going to change their national cuisine for us either. They want us to appreciate their food. They want us to appreciate their country. Otherwise, why are we there? When you go abroad, the customer is always right principle flies right out the window. Have you ever asked an Italian restaurant to please put the meatballs with the spaghetti on the same plate when eating out? They will probably laugh in your face and not do it. It is blasphemy to allow the meatballs to touch the spaghetti in Italy. Okay? You gotta eat them separately. If you're constantly pointing out what's wrong with their way of doing things, don't be surprised when you're treated with disrespect, or in some countries like Spain, spit in your food. And this is the reality, folks. We can take it or we can leave it. If you want to be respected, I'd accept the way the locals do things and quit trying to change their country. That's all. I realized I was being demanding. We used to do it too sometimes. We'd forget. Reality check number 5, the wealthy show-off mistake. And I'm not talking about driving a Ferrari either. It's the little things like talking loudly about your investments in a local cafe, or talking about how cheap your $1,200 condo with ocean views is, or flashing a thick roll of cash at a local mercado. The truth is, in many parts of the world, especially in Asia and Latin America, they keep a much lower profile than most Americans do. Most locals don't show off their wealth, but rather keep it under wraps. Otherwise, they'll get home invaded or robbed. When we show up with our high-end gear and our better-than-you attitude about money, we aren't just making ourselves a target for crime. We're making ourselves an object of resentment. I see you guys and gals all the time in the comments talking about this very subject, and we really like these comments because, you had the boots on the ground experience. And we have some really savvy, smart travelers on this channel. Someone says, I agree totally to this video that we made called How to Escape Being Poor in the USA, Move to a Third World Country. Well, they said they agreed totally. They're sitting ducks being a massive target. They would have to have 24/7 security guards posted there to keep an eye on the home when they leave, even when going to shop for groceries. And that's true. We just had talked about this where a Costa Rican lady said that her family went to a funeral in Costa Rica and that one of them had to stay at the home so it wasn't going to get robbed while they're at the funeral. So there are some vloggers that want you to believe that the way to escape poverty in the USA is to move to a third world country. Well, quite frankly, life doesn't work like that. It's erroneous to think that all you gotta do is pack a bag and move to a poor country and all your financial troubles will be gone. Now you'll have a new set of troubles, as we are always talking about on this channel. The truth is, moving to a lower cost country does not always work in the long run unless you go with the flow of how that country does things. That's the clue. Go with the flow of how the country does things. True integration means blending in, not standing out. If you want to blend in, you have to stop acting like the rich American and start acting like a neighbor. The fact that they don't blend in will eventually cost them. The natives won't appreciate that in-your-face existence. It only takes one bad apple to act, and that's true. And these countries, they have bad apples just like everywhere has bad apples. As our longtime viewers know, wherever we have lived abroad, we have always chosen the middle-class local neighborhoods over living in an expat enclave. We didn't move clear across oceans just because it's cheap, so we can live in luxury for less and be profiled as part of that crowd that pays the highest prices in town. That's not why we moved abroad. We moved to a less expensive country so we could actually live on less than we were in the USA. Living among a bunch of locals actually protects you from the gringo enclave target that is so prevalent in some of these countries. It's actually safer in that respect. But don't tell anyone where you live, because if you do, in 3 months you'll have a dozen more new expats living there, and then it just becomes another target for the bad apples. The bottom line is, it's all about our attitude, folks. You don't want to be the guy or the gal with the loud mouth show-off attitude. It will come back to bite you in the end. So, with that, which one of these 5 reality checks stands out the most for you? Let us know in the comments. We would like to hear from you, and thank you for watching our videos. We appreciate every single one of you. Take care, and bye-bye.